See the screen okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. So in this webinar, our special piece of the presentation is going to be the right sales price for the right customers. So we'll talk about your different customer types and what price might be right for them based on other certain services that you will provide them or that you could provide them. But first, we're going to go over an industry overview and look at the opportunity for selling cloud backup. We will go over the SOS 360-degree partner program so you can see what's included in the program when you join up. What is in the SOS ServerSave product, and you'll get a quick demo of that at the end of the webinar as well. We will talk about our data centers and infrastructure. For those of you from South Africa on the line, we just recently launched our South Africa data center, which I believe is in Cape Town. So that is very exciting news for all of you and for us. Then we'll get into determining the right price for the right customer, go over pricing, and of course, as I said, a product tour. And we say Q&A at the end, but that's really kind of an exaggeration. We like to let you ask questions all throughout the webinar, and we will be more than happy to pause and answer them whenever you've got them. So we love interaction. Please, please, please feel free to ask questions all throughout the webinar. No question is off limits. Go for it. So let's talk about the industry. The online backup industry is really exciting right now, especially in South Africa. There's a lot of activity going on right there, and obviously, as you guys know, since you're on the webinar, there's a lot of opportunity for MSPs. Right now, we have about 900 MSP partners throughout the world, probably about 20 in South Africa, and it's growing and shows no signs of stopping. And one of the big reasons for this is that businesses are very actively adopting online backup. And that's exciting for you because, of course, you'll be able to make more money with businesses because they have more PCs, they have more data to back up. There's much more opportunity for you. And we'll talk a little bit about businesses using tape as well and getting them off tape. So a survey by the IDC concluded, I think this was in 2010, that 16% of companies are currently using online backup. That's only 16%. That's not very much. 69% are evaluating it or planning to use it. Now that is huge. I've never seen a better quantification of actual market opportunity than that. It's an excellent survey. And if you do want to read it, definitely ask your partner specialist and we can provide it to you. So what is causing this interest in online backup and what is causing people, especially businesses, to move to it? One is the expansion of internet bandwidth. So it's easier to put things up in the cloud right now. I realize many countries still have gigabyte restrictions, but we certainly have ways to work around that, and we'll talk about that. Derek will show you in the demo. We've experienced a decrease of hosted storage costs, so it's now less expensive to put things up in the cloud. So even though it still may seem expensive today, it's less expensive than it was 5 or 6 years ago. And, of course, it will continue to get cheaper. The technical sophistication of the population has improved. So people who didn't know what cloud was or didn't know what a server farm was or didn't know what online backup meant or file storage meant, 3 or 4 years ago, they certainly know now. And they probably do it every day. They may think that email is cloud storage, and it really isn't. But nevertheless, you've got something to work with there. It's a similar concept. And people are increasing the size and value of digital data. So all these things are propelling online backup adoption very, very rapidly, and we think that the largest spur in adoption is going to be between 2012 and 2014. So one of your markets are going to be companies that have in the past used tape. And so they're familiar with the concept of backup, and they know that they need to do it, but they just may not be familiar with the idea of online backup or why they should back up offsite. Well, the reasons for backing up offsite as opposed to onsite are pretty simple. You want to save yourself from disaster. There's little point in doing any kind of backup whatsoever if you can't protect the entire set of data in a different location. Because anything could happen to your office, anything could happen to your business. But if it's in a secure military-grade installation in another location, you're definitely going to be able to get it back. And of course, you want complementary software to be able to do that for you. So what are SMBs looking for in online backup? If you do want to tap this market, we've got some good news for you. It's pretty easy to explain what they're looking for. They want everything, don't they? Don't all customers want everything? And that's okay, because we can provide that. They want total business data protection with coverage for workstations, servers, laptops, and mobile devices. This allows them to have a complete business continuity solution and allows them to do complete disaster recovery. If you're a business, you want that. You, of course, don't want any downtime whatsoever.
And what's really nice about the system and the program that we have that we're going to go over now is that we allow you to really have a nice step into all of the services available. The UK and South Africa are considered some of the biggest growth markets in IT services today, especially cloud services being a huge part of every managed service offering. So the program we have allows you to grow with the comfortability of your customers. And it's as easy as being able to give out individual user accounts to see online backup from a personal usage or an individual user basis as a complement to what may be cheaper local storage options. And we also have the local backup options as well. And then as your customers become more comfortable with it, and as costs continue to go down, you can move into the full solution.
Thanks, Herrick. So let's talk about this solution. What is in it? So SOS offers MSPs a business in a box. And I like to say this because it allows you to immediately start selling online backup. There's nothing else that you really need to do. There's nothing else that you need to gather except, get your feet on the ground and starting to pitch and find clients for online backup if you don't have them already. We provide you truly everything. If you don't have a website presence, you will get that with us. We call it our website template, and Derek will show you that a bit later. The website template also gives you account management options. You will, of course, get our award-winning software. There's no hardware purchase required. You can participate in weekly live trainings. And after you become a partner, you can also participate in our partner beta group, which is a special group that allows for Q&A, engineering discussion forums, and we just talk about features and things that we want to add to our software in the coming weeks and months, and definitely get your voice heard there. So after you become a partner, you can participate in that as well. We offer a rebranded client and rebranded sales and marketing materials. They're also customizable, so they're simply included in an area we call the Partner Resource Center, and you can download any and all of these things to help you sell online backup. We're very, very interested in helping you sell after the fact. Sell-through is a big deal because, of course, if you aren't selling, then you probably won't want to be a partner of ours for very long. So we try very hard to make sure that you have the resources that you need to continue selling online backup. So one of the things we do is provide a span of 12 hours per day partner support out of our U.S. office. We also have 24/5 support out of our India office. We also offer business development assistance post-sale. So once you come on board, if you are having trouble or you just want advice on starting your online backup business strategy, marketing and sales, coming up with pitches, coming up with who your customer base should be, our business development manager, Mike Zarudny, is there to help you with that. Of course, you get rebranded materials such as a client, marketing materials, sales materials, and a website template, which you can also customize the content on. And integrated billing. This is a really important feature. We feel it's extremely important that allows you to really penetrate the market in a way that some of your fellow MSP competitors just can't. You'll be able to sell backup online on your website template passively so that you don't physically have to be filling out order forms. Users can be buying online backup on their own. And we do have an integration with Paygate. And PayPal and PayPal Pro and Authorize.net and eWay for our Australian partners. So our data center locations are the UK, US, Canada, and Australia, and our brand new data center in South Africa, which is very exciting for us. And best of all about the program, there's no hardware purchase required. So it's really easy to get up and running. It's really just a standard monthly payment, kind of like a cell phone bill. And you can pay as you go on that plan, or you can purchase annually and save some money. So we'll quickly run through what's in the SOS Online Backup product suite. What's most important to you guys if you are selling to businesses, and can I get a show of hands on that? How many of you are selling to businesses, or how many of you are selling to residential customers? I imagine it's mostly probably businesses, but please let me know, and that'll definitely help us customize the presentation to you as well. So SOS Online Backup allows you to protect everything from your desk life, what we call this your desk life. It's your PC and your Mac data, to your mobile life, which is iPhone and Android. Currently, it's only iPhone and Android. We're not doing Windows Phone at the moment, or BlackBerry. And then for businesses, okay, so most of you on the line are backing up businesses, so that's great. So let's direct our attention to the right-hand side, the green portion of the screen, because that's more interesting to you. We have a software, SOS ServerSave, that allows you to back up operating systems, app data, like SQL servers and Exchange servers, and also perform Exchange granular recovery, which is probably very important to any of your legal customers or financial customers, but still important to businesses in general, and you could definitely sell on that premise that they would want to be able to get back any email that they may potentially lose, especially because it could be customer information, which is super important. And of course, our bread and butter, our file data. So our software does back up any kind of documents, images, emails, videos, music files, etc. We don't have file type limitations. Let's talk a little bit more about SOS ServerSave, since this probably is more interesting to you guys on the line. SOS ServerSave includes Exchange backup and granular recovery, so you can recover mail, message, contacts, and more, basically anything that's an inbox item. And this does help businesses to become regulation compliant. And I'm being vague about regulation compliance on purpose because they are constantly moving and changing, but it is a common component of government regulation compliance. Bare metal image creator allows you to take bare metal images of Windows servers, SQL servers, SharePoint servers, and file servers, basically any Windows-based server. You can take a bare metal image of it and then use Online Backup and Recovery Manager to put it up in the cloud. You'll be able to control, report, and deploy off from our web-based, we call it Command Center, and Derek will show you that. We also offer Workstation Backup, which is really coupled in with Online Backup and Recovery Manager. This is your standard backup for file servers, files, and folders. And of course, Premier Web Integration, which we briefly went over. This is your integrated billing management that will allow you to sell Online Backup passively on your own website template. And of course, we have partner-friendly, so non-SOS branded Android and iPhone applications. The Android application should be coming out here in probably about a week. And these applications really are very cool. They'll allow your customers to access, share, and stream and view data anywhere that they are. So they'll be able to access any piece of information that they've backed up from any computer on their account. So what is SOS ServerSave? Again, it is a complete business backup solution. So how does it compare to other alleged complete business backup solutions? We really are far more flexible. One of the really important parts is that SOS ServerSave offers transactionally consistent backup. This is important for any businesses that are constantly exchanging information, like maybe they have an e-commerce server or an e-commerce database that they want to back up. Data is changing every second in that database, so it's very important that they use transactionally consistent bare metal backups instead of crash consistent. And the reason for this is that crash consistent may accidentally take its image, take its snapshot, while data is in transit or while data is in motion, because it only takes a fraction of a second for that image to take place. It could potentially be taking place at a bad time. Transactionally consistent ensures the backup is talking to the server, and the server has verified that it is done making its transaction or it is done moving its data when the image takes place. So very, very important for your customers that have servers that are constantly changing. Also, our mobile access is really compares to no one. We allow complete web access from any website portal, be it your phone or otherwise, and native applications. And also, we offer a very, very large number of seats per account. So if you have a business with 1,000 seats in it, 1,000 PCs and laptops, no problem. You will not be charged extra money for those individual seats. You will only be charged for your gigs. So as I mentioned, we now have a South Africa data center, which we're very excited about. We have 11 total global points of presence. SOS backs up to military-grade data centers, so Tier 3 and Tier 4 data centers in London, Toronto, Los Angeles, Houston, Dallas, Melbourne, and Cape Town. So Cape Town really just launched like 2 weeks ago, so that's excellent news. Sean says, very cool. Thank you, Sean. We think so, too. All of our data centers are secured with 24/7 watch, military surveillance, biometric credential requirements, backup generators, temperature and humidity controls. So those are all the things that make them Tier 3 and Tier 4. If you do have more questions about that, we do have a data sheet on Tier 3 and Tier 4 compliance for you. All right, let's get to what you all are here for, talking about who do we sell to at the right price. So selling to the right customer at the right price. Sean's got a great question. Do they have local IP addresses? I assume you mean the data centers. I believe so. Right, Derek?
Yeah, I mean, there would be local IP addresses. For what purpose you'd need them, I don't know. It's not something that we publish or would make a practice of publishing.
But they are certainly local. Okay, while you explain, I'll go ahead and talk a bit about starting your online backup business in 3 easy steps. Number 1 is that you need to analyze your customer base. Ask yourself, are my customers businesses or residential users? Do they know what backup is? If they do, what do they need to back up? Is it servers? Is it laptops and PCs? What is it? You need to be aware of that. And what other services do you currently provide for them, or could you provide for them? There may be opportunities there that you hadn't initially realized. Step 2, do an ROI analysis with an SOS partner specialist. So they will help you develop a revenue model, and this is a really cool exercise that you'll be able to take away with you. It's just a simple spreadsheet. You can take it and play with it. We'll take into consideration who your clients are, how many you have, and then we'll come up with what we think you would be able to sell online backup to them for. And we can consider different pricing options as well. This exercise takes about 45 minutes, and it's a really, really helpful way to get an idea of how you can work online backup into your business. So I certainly encourage you to do that. Step 3 is to create a business development plan. And you can do this on your own if you feel like you're good at it and you feel comfortable with it, you feel confident, or you can work with Mike Zarudny, our business development manager, on how to pitch online backup. Okay, Sean's explained a bit more about his question. He says, due to the cost of ADSL, some clients have ADSL accounts that allow local-only browsing to South Africa-only IP tables. This cost is very low compared to blended ADSL. You're certainly out of my realm of knowledge, I will admit that. We'll see if Derek maybe has some ideas for you. And if not, we'll definitely speak to our CEO about your question because it's a great question.
Right. Well, the purpose of putting the South African data center in that was to avoid to avoid the offshore roaming charges that some of you guys get. So that's the reason well, being an Australian-based firm, we have data centers in Australia. Of course, that was the first spot. But that was the purpose of putting the South African data center in place, was to avoid those international fees. So you should be good. We're not bouncing it around out of the U.S.
Okay, hopefully that answers your question. Okay, cool, great. Thanks for your question, Sean. That was a great question. Okay, determining the right products for the right customer. File and folder plus server backup versus just regular old file and folder backup. Those are really your 2 choices. You can, of course, take different components of the program and pump them up, like maybe the mobile applications. Maybe you have customers that are rarely ever at their desk, and so mobile applications are super important to them because they want to access data off-site. That's usually going to be businesses, and it's a feature that's included anyway, but you could design your own programs for your customers based on how many features there are available to you when you sign up with us. But the 2 basic ones that you would do are file and folder plus server backup and regular file and folder backup. So file and folder plus server backup is going to be for customers who have on-site Windows-based servers and customers who are interested in a true business continuity solution. Pretty much the worst thing you could ever have happen to your business, aside from simply going out of business, is losing a server and not being able to get it back, particularly if it has a lot of customer information on it. That would be a sad, sad day. And it may cause you to go out of business, so you certainly don't want that. You particularly will have a good shot of selling file and folder plus server backup to businesses who have e-commerce or payment transaction servers on site, or I should actually add, who have legal reasons for being able to recover exchange data. So we recommend selling backup packaged with server licenses. Like I said, you can mix and configure what you're charging your customers for very fluidly. We don't care how you do that. We just want you to make as much money as possible, and our business development guy can help you do that too. So file and folder backup, you would sell that to residential customers generally. I'm probably preaching to the choir here, and you guys probably know this, but these guys don't have Windows-based servers on site. They don't have any servers on site, but they do have photos and videos and things like that that they need to protect. We recommend selling online backup to these guys in 50 gigabyte increments.
Tax documents, birth records, important information. Consumers do have very important information to their financial stability, just like any business would, and it's fairly uncommon for users to be proactive enough to go out and do something about it unless they've already experienced some sort of data loss. So it's good to offer some sort of individual trial option, which SOS allows you to offer 5 gig trials at no cost to you, and then work on a conversion scheme to get them up and running. Again, most of you are focusing on the SMBs, so your consumer business will generally come from individual users within your businesses, which is just a nice leave behind to have to work with the web package.
Yes, absolutely. And coupon codes, too, are really cool, especially for the consumers, and Derek will show you that. So if we look at competitive prices, which you, of course, want to do to make sure that you are truly competitive, I've included 8 other online backup companies here that do server backup that you might consider. And if there are others that I haven't listed, please let me know. I know there are tons and tons out there, and 8, frankly, is a lot to include on one table. But I do want to know of others if there's things that you guys think are important that I've forgotten. Bottom line is that your competitors are retailing online backup for more than 35% of what SOS is. And that's not the wholesale price. It's probably approximately 3 times more than the wholesale price. So you've got a great deal of opportunity for margin.
And also, I'm not sure if any of these guys actually have a data center presence in South Africa.
I don't think they do. That's a really important point.
Most of them are just now getting into the UK market, so they may or may not have an option in the UK. And then some options like, say, they don't do infrastructure at all. All they do is they give you the software, and then you have to maintain your own infrastructure.
Same with the SEGRA. Yeah.
So a lot of this is, it's not just software as a service. It's also kind of a platform as a service. So we really try to make it simple. The cost of setting up your own infrastructure for online backup is, it really sneaks up on you. When you first go through the evaluations of servers, getting all that set up, it may seem, oh, this is going to be a cheaper solution. The next thing you know, like some of our U.S. customers found out, in 2008, 2009, was that they quickly came up on a $5,000, $10,000 a month bill just for their bandwidth, not to include the maintenance and monitoring that they had to put into their infrastructure. So you want to try to make backup something that you truly set and forget. It's a front-heavy service. That initial backup you manage, but then after that, it's quite simple if you go with a provider that's providing you the front-to-back solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then the great benefit to you is that you're getting recurring revenue with somewhat little effort. And you could get greater recurring revenue by providing much more effort, like we're going to talk about right now. So you could sell online backup as 3 different options. You could sell it as a commodity, which means you're not really touching it. You're not really adding any additional services or value to it. You could sell as a managed service, or you could sell as an IT consultant. If you do have the time and the resources to start selling as an IT consultant, that means that you are really integrating yourself into the business. You are still an outside consultant, but you are doing everything for this business, for their business continuity and disaster recovery, and as well as their IT services. You're probably doing other setup for them. You may be doing networking and things like that. So you're not only charging for online backup. On the other end of the spectrum, if you were to sell online backup as a commodity and you were selling 1 server backup license along with approximately 250 gigabytes of data, this is what you'd be selling it for. You'd be selling it for about $1,290 a year. So you'd still be making a margin, as you'll see in a little bit when we look at the SOS wholesale prices, but not as much as you could be if you were throwing in some other services and throwing in some other value. And then kind of the mid-range area is selling as a managed service. So in this example, you haven't fully integrated yourself into the customer's business, but you do come in and perform services on a regular basis. You may build machines for them, but you aren't on site as much as you would be as you were selling it as an IT consultant.
And now the managed service market in the U.S. is just a little bit ahead of what we see in other countries because of the cheapened bandwidth that we have available here. And managed services are really based on remote access and being able to do things in the cloud. It makes managing simpler. It makes deployment simpler. Are we seeing, what percentage of you here today are doing managed services, meaning a monthly recurring bill every month for your customers versus a bill upon hours spent working with them? And if not yet, anyone still looking, so we've, okay, so almost.
So Justin says he's doing both. Sean says he's doing both. Okay.
So, great.
That's awesome. Good for you guys. We're excited for you.
So that's exactly the market that we're looking to hit here. As you know, the software as a service is become, well, why do I need this guy? Why do I need this guy? And the IT service provider themselves has become rather commoditized. But when you have the managed services behind it, the preventative care, the ongoing maintenance, you then align your goals with your customers. Rather than you getting paid only when something breaks, you get paid when things keep working well. And hopefully you have good reporting and items that you can provide to your customers to show them that nothing's breaking because you're doing work, not because they don't need you.
Absolutely, good point. Okay, so we just looked at how much money you can make. Let's look at that again in a slightly different way as compared to what your wholesale prices with SOS would be. We offer very flexible plans that help you get up and running easily. You can start getting up and running for as little as $3.99 per month, and that's not just a regular old fee. You do get stuff with that. You get 1 terabyte of data, and you get 5 server licenses. So this breaks down to a monthly cost of $80 per server. We suggest that you sell that if you're selling as a commodity for $129 per month. So if you did that, and you sold all of your server licenses and you sold all your gigs, you'd be making $246 per month on this package on a recurring basis. That's if you were selling as a commodity. That's not if you were selling as a managed service, which both of you guys are. So you could 3x this monthly margin that you've got here based on the type of businesses that you guys have. And, of course, if you purchase more, the price goes down and your margin opportunity goes up. So let's look at the margin per server license line. As we go up to SOS ServerSave 25 on the far right-hand side of the screen, your margin per server license goes up to $93. So it basically doubles as you go up. So it's okay if you're not ready to make this initial huge investment. You can start with ServerSave 5 and add, and you will not be charged again for a ServerSave 5. You will only be charged for what you're adding. And you can create your own packages within here too. So let's say that you want ServerSave 5, but you need 2 terabytes. No problem. You can get 5 server licenses as well as 2 terabytes. Not a problem at all. Our South African data center backups are subject to a 15% bandwidth localization fee, but over time, that really does not impact your business. It's actually much less compared to, say, Australia, believe it or not. So any questions about this? Does the pricing make sense? Okay. Must make sense. Very good. And these are the prices that you would see when you start working with your partner specialists on an ROI analysis. All right, Sean says he's all good. Awesome. I love your participation, Sean. It is fantastic. So if there aren't any more questions on pricing, I will hand the controls over to Derek so that he can do a demo for you.
All right, thank you, Sheilin. Okay, let's open up one of our VMs we have set up here. So are you all currently using some online backup provider, or is this a part of your search for one? Are you making a switch, or is it just trying to find one altogether? Searching.
Sick of the NAS thing.
In the U.S., I think a lot of people are sick of NAS, but it's a totally different topic and a little hip-hop.
Sean says part of the search, we looked at XZ and canning. I've never heard of canning. Well, I can tell you XZ uses offsite, and their data centers are only located in Florida, to the very best of my knowledge. Addix 5. I haven't heard of that one either. Thanks for the intel, guys. I appreciate it.
Okay, so what I'm going to now, first, actually, let's go to the SOS Online Backup website. Our program has always been based around our partner program. So even from its early days when there wasn't a way to go with a smaller backup option, and there was really only big partnerships. Partnerships are still the primary focus of our business. It's always been about 80% of our revenue. So our focus on the partner program is, well, I like to think it's unparalleled. I like to think that we're kind of the trailblazer in what we do for our partners. I feel like we go above and beyond at every level. As far as we just migrated our entire support team for our partners to here in the U.S., which for the UK and South Africa means that you have your late afternoon and late evenings to reach somebody here in the U.S., and then we still have overflow going to our Indian office. And then, of course, the web integration package, which we'll go through in a minute, is only because of how much we care about our partners. And I'm going right now to our knowledge base. In the knowledge base, you see that it's publishing our daily satisfaction results. So right now we're at a 91% satisfaction rate. Can't win them all. Not perfect, but not bad. And in this dashboard, we have different forms you can participate in things. So we have our partner forum where they go through different topics as far as how to use the software, different features. We have a good discussion going on about RMM and PSAs. Good discussion here, actually, that just got started yesterday about how to configure ServerSave. So the new thing with ServerSave is going offsite with images. Going offsite with images adds a whole nother layer of online storage that you need, because if you want any type of versioning of your images offsite, you may have to plan for an additional 300 to 500 gigs, and in some cases, a couple terabytes per year just for the image-based backups. And then, every year you would, probably refresh those and resync the whole situation. But it really adds a whole other layer of complexity around how you go about this. And it's really just a balancing act of what can you pay for and what kind of protection will you need. And that's always the basis of risk management plans. So this is really nice that you can do this. And also we just launched literally yesterday a partner beta group. The partner beta group, well, the plan was to only have 50 partners in it. Because of the overwhelming response we got, we added 100 partners. But the partner beta group will expand in later months. And we actually released new products. So we have a new product coming out. We're going to release that to this group soon. And we also have open discussions. So we really incorporate our partners into our product development roadmap and life cycle. So with that said, the dashboard's available for you all to go dig around if you have questions before signing up or whatever the case may be. So that's good to have. All right, so logging into the dashboard. When you're delivered, you're given access to this dashboard. And this dashboard is undergoing a huge overhaul. This is actually brand new. So we rebuilt our entire backup engine. So the whole backup technology was rebuilt this last spring. And then we tackled our dashboard and are still tackling the dashboard. And you're going to see new things every 2 weeks. So we have updated news here. We have backup activity, so we can go in here and see, what are the things I need to pay attention to on a daily basis. I can set an email address to receive a daily snapshot of what my current backup deployments look like. Are they backing up? Are they on schedule? Are they behind schedule? Here we have a lot of red marks because we do a lot of our trials through here, so I probably want to go through and just start canceling some of these. But if you can sort by specific account, by system, by indicator, so only show me the errors or only show me the status. And things like the backup hasn't run in a couple of days, the backup hasn't run in a week, the backup has run fine, the backup ran but with errors. There's also an activity history. So if you want to be able to run a report on the history of a specific account or specific deployment, you can do that here. And you can export this to Excel. Most of the time, this type of reporting is done in the initial backup phase. And there's some good questions coming through in just a minute. During the initial backup, again, that's the only time you're really managing it. And the rest of the time, you just do light monitoring, and that's enough. The history report's good for that, and it's also good for your monthly bill collection day. So part of the dilemma with being a good IT service provider or a good managed service provider is that nothing breaks. So when you go in to collect money, they kind of ask, well, I don't feel like we've called you in a while. Do we still need your services? If you have a report that shows, look at all the things that I've been doing for you, you justify your presence and you as an asset to the business. And of course, nothing's going to make up for that face time with your customers. You got to get that customer relationship in place. And that's also how most of you probably get your referral business. Speaking of referral business, what percentage of business would you say comes from referrals of existing clients? Here, and as those come in, online backup, we have rebrand settings, so you can update your logo, your desktop icon, the from email address for your backup reports, different URLs that appear in the software, and so you can modify where that goes. And then I'm going to show you where, by default, we give you a site that's already set up. So really the hard part is not getting into the program. That's easy. 1 terabyte, 5 licenses, no brainer. The difficult part is from the business perspective. How do you set up operationally to support your customers? So we have a very unique, a completely unique offering that we call the Web Integration Package. And this is the back end of the Web Integration Package here. And if I go to View Site, and you all can visit this yourselves, it's partnername.onlinebackupcheckout.com. So this comes with 10 pages that are filled out with box content. So we have the home page, home users, business users, why us, the security, service coverage, sign up now. And actually what you're looking at right now is exactly the box content that you'll be delivered with. So naturally you'll need to come in and update your logo. You can change what's put up here in the sign up page to define the pricing that you have available here. And of course, the all-important terms of service. If you do plan on using the website for purchases, this is absolutely a legal necessity. Again, for those of you in South Africa, we have Paygate integration. Paygate does not accept billing through the website. It's kind of like PayPal standard where it goes into the next one, but it does support the local currency rand. So you have that option there. The Web Integration Package is it's really nothing special that you couldn't build yourselves. It's just that we've built it over the last year and a half. So using our own partner APIs, so the exact APIs that you all have access to, you can build this yourself if you would like. And some people have a model where this doesn't really fit for them. This is a very general website that includes very general options. So we integrated a module from CK Editor for a for our content management system. So you have a little visual editor here, and the point is, if you have no web design experience, you can still come in and change things without spending a whole lot of time on it. And if you are more familiar with web design and have a little web design resource, you can view the source, and there's also a CSS editor. Sean said, finally, about Paygate. And the CSS, if you don't know CSS, it's still pretty plain English. Just a little basic knowledge of these tags is good enough. For myself, I don't know any CSS, but I know this says, okay, header 1, and this is the hex color value, and this is the font, and I could change these things. I'm not going to go in here and write my own CSS, though. I'd probably break it. And if I broke it, that'd be fine because I just come up here and hit Reset CSS. The logo on the front of the page, right here, you browse and then upload your PNG, and then that's how you brand the site. And we really just give you flexibility to have a working website and web presence with description of service and a place to contact you with more information right off the bat rather than having to spend really any amount of time setting it up. Support ticketing system, very basic. A mailer system that's really nice to have campaigns out or to keep in contact with your customers. Again, gateways, you can set that here. So here we have Paygate enabled. If we hit edit, we would get our Paygate ID and key from Paygate. And you put that in here, hit submit, and now you're ready to go. When you go into coupon code, this is good for leave behinds. You can put a little discount. And then, of course, you have the backup users table where you can see information about the accounts that you have. You can view details, edit, upgrade, cancel, reset their password, or change their email. And in the front of the admin dashboard, you also have a little table that shows you recent signups, recent upgrades, and cancellation requests. And this is helpful to keep you up to date as far as what you have to pay attention to. The admin email address on here is going to receive notifications for things like that. So if somebody signs up to your website, you get an admin email about that. So if you have some sort of ticketing system you use, some sort of PSA, then you can plug in the active email address you have for your PSA right here. And then anytime something happens that this email would be hit, like the contact us field, then, or the support ticketing system, then it'll create a ticket in your PSA. Any questions about the web package? I'm going to close all this down and we're going to jump into the software. Good question here about initial backup. And this is quite a common concern. Is there a way that I can send my first backup to the data center for the first upload? And naturally, this is because of the cost of bandwidth, right? It can be expensive to begin with.
Or limitation on bandwidth.
Or limitation of bandwidth. Right now, we don't have a service in South Africa, and the security behind our data centers doesn't actually allow us to walk into a data center and plug in a drive. Our infrastructure actually just wouldn't work that way either. But the way that we do have it set up is I'll explain it of how our U.S. customers can handle it, and then how you can. And then I'll end with a note that we're looking for what we're calling a PMU, or a data seeding partner, in South Africa. So what we do here in the U.S. is here at our headquarters. It's not tied to a data center in any particular special way. But we have a 100 meg pipe here at the office. And we throttle here and there, but we have a PMU server. And this server is where we will request that you send us an image of the machine and the backup set that you'd like to back up. We'll mount it in our environment, and then we'll run a backup from it as usual. The only difference is that from our location, we have a faster pipe and a dedicated machine to do it, so the backup's much, much faster. Now, for you all in South Africa, the shipping overseas may be an issue for legal reasons, so that's a non-issue, that's a non-starter right there. But we are currently looking for a partner in the area that would have a relationship with a data center company that could do that for you or for yourself. So the way it works out is there's no special magic that is SOS only access. We're really just switching out the hardware. So if you have a local data center that has, or you can rent a machine and then get the initial backup done for a good deal, then that's something that we like to know. Anyone have any relationship with a data center or would be interested in becoming that PMU partner? That PMU partner would mean all of our direct South African leads that would request this service, which is most of them, we'd send your way, or part of them your way. And then we'd also, any partners that would want to send their customers to you would be the same. So it's actually a nice little referral program. So Sean does, all right. Sean will talk to you afterwards. Just making a note. So in these markets, it's critical to get around that because that's a big roadblock to getting started with a service like this, especially if you plan on doing images off-site. Most of our customers in that area are not doing that because of the bandwidth needs, and they're sticking to the simpler file and folder backup and then using Bare Metal Image Creator locally. So let's go through how this works. So Bare Metal Image Creator, this program is used to create and restore from images that are volume-based. So at a volume level, let me delete this backup. Go to my wizard, go to backup, and then I select the volume that I'd like to create an image of. Or I could select multiple volumes. Hit next, and then whatever is on that volume is going to be recoverable either from a boot disk or from a virtual drive. Typically, you'd select a network location, so not just a NAS, but actually a machine. And it's a recommendation of the full backup solution to do this, but it's not required. It's just a good practice. And then the F drive right here is what I'll use for the demo purpose. It's just a virtual drive we set up. So you have the schedule to do a full backup once a week and then incremental throughout the week, and then you set up your retention policies to remove these if they're older than 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. This is all locally done. So if you're only doing local backups, then this is fine. You can continue doing this. But if you plan on going off-site, we truly recommend doing continuous incremental backups. And this means that it's not going to redo a full backup unless you ask it to. And then using the Shadow Protect Image Manager, you can consolidate your incrementals every week or every month so that you have less files to manage. Now, it's not really necessary to do that, and it depends solely on if you're going off-site or staying local. Anyone planning on immediately going off-site with image backups for their customers, or is that something that you may move into rather slowly? As that comes in, I'll just continue. So this system uses VSS. So if you're familiar with VSS, you're aware that it's a rather monogamous program. It doesn't like being touched by other things. So if you're using Acronis or Semantic Backup Exec, you have to uninstall those applications. So VSS just doesn't like being touched. It's volume shadow service. It'll ignore volume shadow copies. So that's fine. You don't have to deactivate that. So if I hit next, looks like everyone's looking to go off-site with their images. All right, so we have the standard backup, and we have the standard compression of the image, and then you can encrypt it locally if you need to. Encryption can be set in the Advanced tab, so we have that here. If you have old database programs like some Mass 90 accounting software that doesn't support VSS Writer, and you don't want to have to shut it down manually, you can script in a little VAT file and then post it in here. So pre-snapshot, shut down database. Post-snapshot, restart database. And then post-backup, I don't know, shut down machine, whatever you want to do. You can split the images up, which we recommend. we recommend, if you're doing image-based backup, to split the images into 5 to 10 gig chunks, as this will give you the best performance off-site and through recovery. And again, the recovery chain is intelligent enough where if you have, 100 files or 2 files, it doesn't change your restore method. So that's it, opening the online backup software. We log in. And here we select our backup set either with the scan module, and you can edit the scan, or just say no scan and go through the Windows tree view. We can select an entire drive, so my F drive is my backup drive, so I'm just going to select that to backup and hit next. We can set scheduling options, so backup without user intervention, that's to run on a schedule. Backup even when the user is not logged on, this is set domain credentials, so if you're on a Windows domain, you need to do this, or it won't authorize the scheduled backup to run all the time. So you'll get errors that say access denied to file or unable to access file. Email backup reports for your customers. You will have the monitoring system, so you don't have to be plugged into here. If you want this backup report, say for the initial backup, which is recommended, then you can put your email address in here and then just remove it when the initial backup is done. Separate emails with commas, that's it. So now it's scheduled to run. Let's look at how you would restore. So you go to Online Restore. It's going to refresh, and you get a bold date next to each day where a backup is run. I can go back in time as far as I've had the account, and it'll refresh every file to the version that is relevant to the date we just selected. Let this spin up real quickly. Any questions on what we've gone through so far?
Justin says looks good. Awesome. Glad you think so.
Taking a little bit to refresh here. So while this is spinning up, I'm actually going to go back to Classic View because I like the way the Classic View works out for recovery because it lets me expand the screen. So the wizard's nice because it's a wizard and it kind of walks you through your steps. But as some of you may also prefer, sometimes Classic Views are nice. This expansion alone is worth it just so that you can really see the information regarding the name of the file, the type, and what's listed here. So this is refreshing, and for the sake of just showing you what the software will look like, let's say we recover the data to our F drive. I'm not going to go through recovery of images. So the F drive is here, and we don't have to open up the software. We can literally just right-click and quick mount, and that's backup job 1, incremental 7. And it's going to quick mount a virtual drive, Exchange Drive L right here, which it just popped me into. And now we have our Exchange backup recovered. If I go through the software, then of course there's a wizard to let me go through it. I hit restore. This would be through a boot disk recovery environment. I go explore backup this way. It's just to restore as a virtual drive. So I select any backup job I want, hit open, next. And then we have here backup job 10, incremental 35. I say sure, that's the most recent one I want. Next, what drive level do you want? M is fine with me. Then it gives you that intelligent file chain we were talking about. And that's what's going to go through. And I hit finish, and then it's going to mount virtual drive M. Then I get out of this, and now that we've recovered this Exchange data, I hit EGR. So let me just cancel this. I hit select source. Now I'm going to look for that EDB file. So I pull up the drive I just recovered, mailbox, EDB. Got the Exchange log path here that it automatically finds for you. If you need to change it, you can, but typically you don't. So it's going to pull this open, and then I'm going to select my target Exchange server. And this is going to authenticate based on the Windows user I'm currently logged in as. Again, most of our systems are based on the Windows user you're logged in as. So we don't fake any credentials or create any limitations of our own. It's all based on the Windows limitations. So if you can see the data and you can read and write it, you can back it up or recover to it. So user data, we can search down and go through the user's database. It's very easy. When you do get a list of emails, you can open up any of these objects and then preview the objects. So double-click and open. I can see the attachment that's here. Then I can drag and drop the attachment into the live user's mailbox. Very simple to do. I can also drag a whole mailbox over, or I could drag the whole source EDB over. And it's a very simple, intuitive drag and drop restore technology. And the search function works both on the live server as well as on the, my trial's not supporting that. It works on the live Exchange server just as much as it works in the backup. So if you wanted to search through your live server and delete files from a specific mailbox or different objects, you can do that. All right, and that finishes up the demo. Any questions on what we've gone through today or about the program, about the software, the functionality, setup, pricing? As you can see, what we're doing here at SOS is what we started doing last November was providing a full end-to-end solution so that you didn't have to go through multiple vendors to have a good local backup with the bare metal image, to have that image go off-site, as well as to provide a file and folder backup for your file servers and for your individual users. Individual users are often the most neglected part of any system, and that's the point of change and data growth. So you want to make sure that your users are where you also have a good backup solution. And through the simple scanner, our system is very easy to set up for almost any user.
So if there aren't any remaining questions, we'll go ahead and sign off, and we thank you guys very much for your participation and joining us this morning, and we hope to have you on board very soon.
Thanks, and have a good one.